In Coronation Street, Becky Swain has returned from the dead, but does this mean that Lisa is still married? Lisa thought Becky had passed away nearly 4 years ago. She then eventually moved on and recently got engaged to Carla Connor. But she was in for a surprise last night. Carla and Lisa got engaged, but it turned out that her wife, Becky, was still alive. Carla and Lisa recently celebrated their engagement on the street after Lisa got down on one knee and proposed to Carla in full police uniform. The happy couple then visited Roy as Carla asked if he'd walk her down the aisle. But, barely a week after their engagement, a true spanner has been thrown into the works. Last night, on Betsy's 18th birthday, her eyes welled up with tears as Lisa Swain gifted her an old necklace of Becky's. Betsy made plans with her friends for the rest of the day. And alone, Lisa sat at home and waited for Carla. The glass of wine in her hand soon dropped to the floor though when her late wife Becky Swain showed up. Yes, the late wife she'd been grieving for the last 4 years. The late wife she believed had died on duty during a police chase. Are Lisa and Becky still legally married? Expert gives answers. So, with Becky actually still alive, Swarla fans might be wondering whether she's still technically Lisa's wife. If so, this would potentially prevent Carla and Lisa from marrying without a divorce first. A legal expert has now explained that it's highly possible that Lisa and Becky are still legally married, although some details of Becky's death are currently not clear. On the one hand, Becky Swain was only believed dead for 4 years, which is significant given that typically the courts in England and Wales follow a 7-year rule. Samuel Mason, family senior associate at law firm Shakespeare Martineau, stated. Since 2014, it has been possible to obtain a declaration of presumed death under the Presumption of Death Act 2013, where, after 7 years, families can obtain an order through the High Court declaring that a missing person is deemed to have died effective for all purposes, including ending a marriage. On the other hand, it is mentioned on the show that Becky has had a funeral. To have a funeral in the UK, a court declaration, such as a presumption of death order or a death certificate, must be issued, but this seems unlikely based on what audiences have seen on screen. However, as this funeral wasn't shown on screen, it may be revealed that it was simply a memorial service. This would mean Lisa and Becky Swain are more than likely married, meaning Lisa cannot marry Carla until the couple divorce. Lisa Swain looks set to be on the warpath in upcoming scenes, while Tracy Barlow is hit with a shock amid her blackmailing of Carl Webster in Coronation Street. Starting with Lisa, and as fans of the ITV soap now know, her late wife, Becky, has been revealed to be alive. Lisa was astonished when Becky showed up at number 6 4 years after she believed she had died in the line of duty. Next week, D.I. Costello warns Becky to keep her head down or they could both end up in prison. Meanwhile, a fired-up Lisa enters the station determined to have it out with Costello, but he refuses to be drawn. DC Kit Green warns Lisa's fiancée Carla Connor that Costello isn't all that he seems and Lisa needs to be careful. But when Carla reveals that Becky isn't dead and she's come back, Kit's stunned. As the week moves on, Carla puts pressure on Lisa to tell daughter Betsy the truth about Becky, knowing she'll find out in the end and be more heartbroken. When Lisa refuses to entertain the idea, Carla summons Becky. As Becky breaks down and begs Lisa to let her see their daughter, Carla hopes Lisa will do the right thing. But Lisa tells Becky straight up that she doesn't want to hurt Betsy anymore. Accepting defeat, Carla tells Becky to go. However, afterwards in the precinct, Becky watches as Betsy talks to Ryan. Will she blow her cover and reach out to her daughter? And that's not the end of the trouble, as when Roy Cropper discovers Becky at number 6, she tries to say she's a colleague of Lisa's, but Roy doesn't buy it and tells her he knows she's Becky Swain and he saw her at the hospital. Roy leaves after Lisa tells him about the situation and tells Carla how much she hurt him with lies. Lisa makes Carla's case to Roy and explains that she did it to protect Carla and Betsy, even though lying to him was the last thing she wanted to do. Will he listen? Not one to be deterred, Lisa barges into Costello's office and demands he tell her every detail surrounding Becky's fake death or she'll take the story to the press elsewhere. Brody Michaelis assures Kit that neither he nor Dylan Wilson had anything to do with the hit and run because at the time he was suffering a seizure. But when Brody is by himself, he tells Carl Webster that they left the car before going to the hospital, but when he went to get it, the car was gone, so he thinks that someone else must have stolen it and run Tyrone over. PC Jess Haywood interviews Dylan at the station. Will the police release him when he discloses that he was in the hospital at the time of the incident? Speaking of the hit and run, at the hospital, Tyrone wakes up clearly agitated and tells Fizz to find a doctor as he can't feel his legs. Then, when Fizz calls from the hospital to update Tyrone's family on his operation, there is concern. Later, Tyrone, who is still in the hospital, tells his grandmother, Evelyn Plummer, that he may be confined for a number of months and is concerned about the strain that Fizz will be under. Back to Carl, and Kit warns him that he intends to keep a close eye on him. And he's not the only one, as Abby Webster shares her concerns about the car that hit Tyrone with Carl, suggesting it could have been one of Fiona's. Before speaking with Fiona, Carl covers to explain that he had no choice but to set fire to the car. But when Kit heads over and asks what Carl's doing hanging out with a known criminal, is the game up? That's not Carl's only worry, as Tracy delights in reminding him that her next payment is due, failing which she'll tell his half-brother Kevin Webster about his affair with Abby. Later, Tracy tells Abby straight up that she doesn't like getting paid in installments and wants the full amount today. When Abby tells Carl, he asserts that he'll give her £500 and make it clear that's an end to the matter. But when Tracy reminds him that she's the one calling the shots, Abby reckons it's time they told Kevin about their affair. Carl doesn't care about it and suggests that they call Tracy's bluff instead. Will Tracy talk, and how will she react to find the flower shop being trashed by a masked thug? Also in Weatherfield, as Todd Grimshaw and Theo Silverton excitedly move into the corner shop flat, George Shuttleworth calls round with some beers. But when Todd invites him to stay for a drink, a brooding Theo scowls. Later, after his child custody meeting, Theo vows to do whatever it takes to secure access to his kids. He then confides in Todd that he's worried about the court case, and if Danielle, his ex-wife, saw the state of their flat, she'd deem it unsuitable for the kids. With Theo gone, George, Billy Mayhew and Brian Packham join Todd and set to cleaning the flat. Nearing the end, they delve into some snacks and dance to music. With a bit of fun being had, Theo returns home and takes in the scene. How will he react?